gorgeous girls, my name is Ingrid and welcome to today's video. For those of you who follow me regularly, you will already know that I am engaged. I am so excited. You guys, you cannot believe it. And you guys asked me to do videos related to the planning of my wedding. So the video today is going to be the 10 things you should first do when you get engaged. The first thing that you have to do is to enjoy the moment, enjoy your engagement. It's a very strange situation. 2 minutes ago, you were single, you had your boyfriend. 2 minutes later, you are engaged to a person to be married. It's completely amazing. And when I say just get used to the idea, it's because at least for me at the beginning, it was like completely overwhelming. I couldn't even believe it. And it's very funny because you do have to sort of get used to the idea before you get straight into the wedding planning. First, just chill out, enjoy that you are engaged, just enjoy the time with your boyfriend. It's so special, well, with your fiance, and then you will be in the right mindset to start planning the big day. The second thing that I would suggest is to get yourself organized, and the best way to start that is to buy a wedding planner book or to make your own wedding planner. So I decided to go the DIY route and I have made my own folder. It hasn't been decorated yet, it's just the one that I bought. And I thought that I would do a video showing you all the different things that I have got in my wedding planning book. And this is a really good idea because you can actually start to decide what you have to do, in what order. It will be really helpful. You can obviously buy books that are ready made, so like that you don't really have to do much thinking, but I wanted to add a lot of things, and like this I can just put in anything that I need, and I can add sections or get rid of sections depending on how I'm going to plan my wedding. I will be making a video showing you my DIY wedding planner, and like that, if you want to make your own, you can do something similar to mine. The next thing that you should start doing is to start envisioning your wedding, and according to that, to plan your budget. I thought it was really difficult to plan the budget because I don't even know how much things cost. So the first thing that you need to do is to sit down with your fiance and decide what kind of wedding you want. Do you want a very large wedding? Do you want a very small and intimate wedding? Do you want a wedding at the beach, or do you want it in a very large venue? All those things will determine the amount of money that you will need to save up and spend on the big day. Or basically, think of an amount that you don't want to go over. It's really important because things are really expensive, and you know, the money just adds up really quickly. The next thing that I think you should do is to decide who your wedding party will be. So think about which people can really help you to organize your big day, and then which people will play an important role on the day. So not only your parents, but also think of your bridesmaids and your bridegrooms, if you're going to have any, and also your best man and your maid of honor, if you're thinking of having them. And then also think of people that can really help you plan your wedding. Another thing related to this is to think whether you actually want a wedding planner to help you on the day or to help you prepare for the wedding. These people are experts in their field, and they will help you really make your vision of your wedding come true. Other times maybe you want to do things yourself, but you want someone to be there on the day. That's another thing that you can also do. So think who you want to be part of the most important things of your wedding, so that like that you know who to talk to first. The next thing that you need to do is to start thinking of a date. Think, do you want a summer wedding, do you want a winter wedding, or do you want to wait for spring or for autumn? Do you want it on a Saturday, or do you prefer to do it on a Friday? Remember that depending on the date that you choose, things will change a lot. Obviously, the weather will be different depending on the season. Also, the style will be a little bit different depending on when you choose to do it. But it also affects the price, so do take that into account too. It's obviously usually cheaper to organize a wedding off-peak season, let's say. But you do have to take into account when can your guests come. If you have a lot of people coming from abroad, it's obviously better to do it in the summer when they can take the days off. And also think about the honeymoon, because if you're going on a honeymoon right after your wedding, it will be a very big difference to go in one time of the year or another. So it is difficult to think about what date you want to plan your wedding. Some people really know what day exactly they want to do it, maybe because it's their anniversary or a special date to them. But in our case, we sort of decided that we wanted to do it in July or in August, and then we went to see the different venues because amazingly enough, most of the venues were booked in a lot of the dates already. The next thing that you have to do quite early on is to actually start deciding who you're going to invite. So sit down with your fiance and start writing down names of all the people that you're going to invite to your wedding. This is very important to do because when you go to look at venues, when you start to think of your budget, it will be entirely dependent on the amount of people that you've decided to invite to your weddings. And it's going to be the first question that the venues and the restaurants and places like that are going to ask you. So it's important that you already have an idea more or less. Obviously that number may increase or decrease, and obviously you never know who will be able to come or not, but it does give you a vague idea of how many people can come, and venues are quite good at calculating, depending on how many people you invite, how many of them will actually go or not go. So it's important to start planning who you're going to invite. Once you've decided all those things, the next thing that you need to do is to start looking at venues. I really do stress that you should not leave it for very late, because amazingly enough, the best places will be booked quite quickly. I mean, I got engaged 14 months before the date of my wedding, and I thought that was plenty of time to find a venue and to organize everything. But to my surprise, most of the dates for July and August were taken in most of the venues that we went to see. So do take that into account. It is important though to realize that the venue that you will choose will determine a lot the feel and the style of the wedding. So do take into account that if you want a small country sort of wedding, if you go to a very large palace type thing, the feel will be completely different. Do take a long list of venues to go and visit, because you never know which one you will go with in the end. Another thing which is related to the last point is to actually start looking or even booking important vendors for your wedding. So if you want a specific photographer or a specific videographer or a particular kind of music or something that you are quite sure that you want, it's better to actually book early and make sure they can be there on the day in that venue, rather than leaving it for later on and then not being able to get it. After that, what I would do is to plan an engagement party or something similar if you're thinking of doing it. If you don't want a full blown out engagement party, I think it's always a nice touch to invite your parents and also your parents-in-law and just have a nice dinner together, and you can all talk about the idea that you have for the wedding, speak to them about guest lists and things like that, because you can actually get the ball rolling, and it's just so exciting. It's a nice moment to bring the two families together to actually talk about what ideas the parents have, because it's always a good idea to ask them, and they can also give you some tips and tricks about the venue, about the food and things related to the wedding. So I think that's a really good idea, and that's one of the first things to look forward to when you first get engaged. And finally, the 10th thing that I would do once you get engaged, when you have your venue and you already know what date you're getting married, the next thing that you have to do is to tell your family and friends. Yay! And one of the ways that I always suggest to do is to send a save the date, especially if you have a lot of family living abroad like I do. I'm going to send them a save the date so they can already start planning their holidays for the next year so they can come to our wedding. And obviously you can just send a message, or you can send an email or a letter or something, but you always have the chance of doing something a little bit special. So I am planning on taking a lovely photo with my fiance and an ingenious way of saying that we're going to get married that date. Or you could even record a video if you're into that thing. I quite like the idea of a video, but my boyfriend isn't very much in love with the camera, so I think I'll just be taking a photo. In any case, when I've got my date, I think I will probably show it to you guys. So do make sure to follow me on Twitter and on Instagram, and also on Snapchat, and like that you can see all the preparations for my wedding and everything, and you can follow me and you can get loads of tips and tricks and ideas. So those were the 10 first things that I did when I got engaged. I'm so excited. I've already booked the venue and the photographer and videographer, and I've already got my wedding book, which I will be showing you in another video. So do make sure that you subscribe to my channel, and like that you won't miss the videos that I'm going to do about the planning of my big wedding next year. Thank you ever so much for watching this video, and see you in the next one. Bye bye!